Hey guys, it's Kimberly. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a story time for you guys. I actually did a poll on my Instagram a while back asking if you guys were interested in me doing a story time on my labor and delivery, and most of you guys said yes, so here I am today filming this for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the video. It is going to be a long video, so make sure you guys get your snacks, get popcorn, chips, whatever you guys want to get, and let's get right into this video. So we're going to take it back to July 11, 2018, which was when I went to my 40-week checkup. I went in and everything was fine. They checked me, everything was okay, and they actually did check to see if I was dilated, and I was a centimeter dilated. And I remember perfectly that the moment that they told me that I was a centimeter dilated, I started crying. I was like bawling my eyes out because it like hit me that I was actually gonna give birth. Like, I mean, obviously I knew that I was pregnant before, but like the moment when they told me I'm dilated, even if it's just a centimeter, I was like, oh my god, like this is gonna happen. Like, I'm actually gonna give birth. Like, I'm gonna actually have my baby with me. Like, this is real. Like, that's when I was like like I need to calm down and relax. Like, everything's gonna be okay. They did tell me just to, you know, be careful, like be aware, like if my mucus plug comes out, if my water breaks, if I have contractions. They told me that if I did start having contractions, to go immediately to the hospital. Since I was already 40 weeks, they told me like it could happen anytime soon. So then after that, we went home and everything was okay. The next 2 days were fine. I was feeling fine, no contractions yet, my water hadn't broke. So then Saturday came along and me and my husband were actually gonna go run some errands. So we got up early that day and we went to go, you know, take care of all of our business. And then I remember that throughout all of our errands, my mom actually called me and she told me, hey, listen, like, I know you don't have any contractions yet, but like you're already past 40 weeks. Like, I think we should go to the hospital just to make sure everything's okay. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. It was mostly because like I was little. I mean, I still am. Like, my body was tiny, and everybody thought that I was gonna have the baby like at 37 weeks or 38 weeks. They did not think I was gonna go past 40 weeks, and honestly neither did I. So then I was like, okay, that's fine. And like when we're done running our errands, we'll go home and then like we'll go to the hospital. We eventually got home and I got ready and we went to the hospital. My mom did tell me that it was best for her to go with me because they only allowed one person in the little room where they check you. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'd rather my mom go with me since she did have 4 kids, and like if something was up, she was gonna know what to do. We got to the hospital, I got checked in and everything. They asked me, are you having contractions? I said no. They asked me if my water was broken. I said no. And they told me that it was fine, like they were just gonna check me just in case I was dilated, because I did mention to them that prior to Saturday I was a centimeter dilated already. So they checked me in. They put me in the little room. I changed and everything, and then they did check me, and I was almost 2 centimeters dilated. And they told me that usually they keep you in the hospital when you're 3 centimeters dilated or more. So they told me I was just gonna wait an hour, and they were gonna come check me again. And if I was dilated, and if I did dilate more, they were gonna leave me there. If not, I was gonna get sent home. So then the hour passed by, and then they came and they checked me, and I was still 2 centimeters dilated, so I had not dilated anymore. And they did send me home, and they told me, you know, like, just be careful in case like your contractions start to come and all of that. So we went home. After that, we went to go eat some tacos, and I remember that day perfectly because my husband actually gave my mom, my sister, and me some flowers. So after that, we went home and everything was okay. So Saturday night, I did not sleep at all. I was already sleeping like sitting down as it is because I was just so uncomfortable. I was like huge and I just wanted to get the baby out. I remember that I did not even sleep at all. Sunday morning came around, and then I was feeling a little weird. Like, I feel like my body was like getting ready to go into labor. My belly was like really low. It had dropped a lot from the day before. And I actually did mention to my mom how I was feeling. I was having contractions like 15 minutes apart, and they were not that bad, so I could handle it. She ran a hot bath for me, and then I got in the bath. I was in there for about 40 to 45 minutes, and during that time I literally felt like a whale in the freaking ocean. Honestly, I thank my mom for you know, telling me to get in the bath, because that's what actually helped me go into labor. I'm not saying that it's gonna help everybody, but that's just what helped me. So after that, my mom actually went out to the store and she told me, like, if you have any contractions, like, let me know, like, call me if anything, and like we'll go to the hospital. So then she left and everything, and I was still having contractions. Now they were like 5 minutes apart, and they were really strong. Like, they were so strong, but I could still handle it. I remember that I told myself that I was not gonna go to the hospital until like my contractions were so bad, were like to the point where I couldn't walk anymore. So like I mentioned, my contractions were already 5 minutes apart, and they were stronger and stronger every time. My husband was actually building this little bookshelf that we had got for my son, that I now use as a little closet for him, just to keep his stuff organized. I remember that I was having my contractions like 5 minutes apart, like 3 to 5 minutes apart, and they were so strong. And my husband was over here struggling trying to build this damn bookshelf, and I was having contractions. I was looking at my husband getting all stressed because he could not build the bookshelf, and I was getting so irritated. I was like, you know what, we're just gonna return this bookshelf. Like, I don't even want it anymore, because I was just so mad. And then he was like, okay, like maybe we should just go get something to eat, because everybody knows that when I don't eat, I get really grumpy. So we actually headed on over to Taco Bell, and my brother did join us. And by the time we got to Taco Bell, my contractions were already really bad. I could walk still, and I was able to, you know, like move around and stuff, but my contractions were so strong by that point that I was not even able to eat. Like, literally, we were inside Taco Bell, and I could not even take a bite of my taco. Like, it's like the baby knew that I was about to eat, because every time I would try to bite my taco, he would kick and then a contraction would come. It was horrible. After that, we went to Lowe's because we were still missing a piece for the bookshelf that he finally did build, and we just went in there. And since Lowe's is pretty big, we decided that I was just gonna go walk around the whole store, just so it could help me with the labor process and all of that. So we did that, and then after we were done walking through the whole store, literally like the whole store, we went home. And my mom got home a couple minutes after that, and she like looked at me and she was like, oh my god, like, by the look in your face, like, you're ready to give birth, like, we need to go to the hospital now. And I was like, yeah mom, like, my contractions are so bad, like, I could still handle the pain, but like, they're really strong. And like I said, I was past 40 weeks. I just did not want to risk it. So she did help me take a shower, and I didn't even care at that point. Like, I didn't even care that she saw me naked. Like, I just wanted to get showered and go to the hospital. So I showered, I put my pajamas on, and we headed over to the hospital. My husband and everybody else stayed home because there was no point in everybody going if they were gonna send me back again, or like if nothing was gonna happen. So only my mom and I went. We got to the hospital on Sunday, like I mentioned, at around 10:40 p.m. almost 11 at night. And I was still able to walk into the hospital. I walked all the way up to where they check you in and everything. I got checked in, and then they immediately put me in the little room where they check you. They checked me, and I was already 3 centimeters dilated. So they're like, okay, like you're good to stay, like we're gonna keep you here this time. As soon as they told me that, they took me to my little room where I was actually gonna you know, give birth to my baby. So I'm not even kidding, as soon as I stepped into the room where I was going to give birth, it's like the baby knew that I was in there. Like, as soon as I stepped into the room, my contractions were like a minute or 2 minutes apart. I'm not even lying. They did not stop. They were not 5 minutes apart. They were not, like, I did not take a break, like, at all. I was walking around, I was bouncing on the ball, I was doing everything I could for the pain to go away. So I already knew going into the hospital, and like since the beginning, like since before this, that I did not want to get the epidural. Like, the epidural was not in my plans at all. So every like hour, every 30 minutes, they were checking me, and I was dilating pretty well. When I was at about 6 centimeters, I believe, it's when I could not take the pain anymore. I remember that my mom was laying on the couch so comfortable, like she was sleeping, and I wanted to be sleeping. I was so tired, I was exhausted, I was hungry, and I could not even eat anything because they told me that if I ate something, it was more likely that I was going to poop myself when I was pushing. So I did not even want to eat anything, but I was still so tired. I remember that I saw my mom so comfortably sleeping on the couch, and I like screamed, like I yelled, and I was like, Mom, like go tell them to put the epidural, like I don't want to feel this pain anymore, like I can't take it. And she's like, okay, like just wait until they come check you again, and if you're dilated, then don't get the epidural because like you're almost basically there. So I was like, okay, like I'll wait. Then like an hour and a half or so passed by, and they come and check me again, and I was already 8 centimeters dilated. So I was like almost there basically. When they told me that I was 8 centimeters, I decided, okay, I'm not gonna get the epidural. Like I said, it was one of my plans. But when I did feel like I couldn't take it, I was kind of considering it. But yeah. So after that, they told me that if I was gonna call anybody else, that it was the time to call. So I did call my husband. He came to the hospital with my sister, and after that, I remember that my water did break, which I was so happy about. We were just waiting for that because honestly I did not want them to break my water, because I was there when my mom gave birth to my little brother, and I did see when they broke her water. So I was like, I do not want to go through that pain, because let me tell you, it's very ugly. I did not want to go through that. After my water broke, like the contractions were still a minute apart. Like I was not having, like I could not even take the pain. Like I did not have any kind of break. Like the contractions didn't stop. And they were so strong. I honestly don't even know how I did it. Like I'm like so proud of myself for even getting through that, because it's very hard. Like it's very hard getting through, you know, almost 10 hours of labor with no epidural, because that's how long I was in labor for, 10 hours. So I'm very proud of myself for that. After my water did break, my contractions were still very strong. They were still a minute apart. And they told me that when I was about 9 centimeters that I was gonna have to start pushing. So I get to 9 centimeters, almost 10, and they told me, hey, like your doctor's not here yet. This was around, I believe, 6 a.m. around there, or like a little before 6 a.m. when they told me that. Like my doctor was not there, like, but they had another doctor on call, and I was like I don't think so. I was like, I'm not gonna give birth to my baby if my doctor's not here. Like I'm already like freaking scared as it is, and I don't want a new person to come and like deliver my baby. Like I want the person that I've been seeing for these whole 9 months to, well, 9 months, not 9 months, this whole time to deliver my baby. And they were like, well, she gets here at around 7. And I was like, okay, like maybe around the time that she comes, like I'm gonna be ready to push. So I started pushing, like I said, or like a little before 6. So it was not like pushing like for the whole like 3 hours, but like I was pushing. Like they told me, okay, push, and then like they wouldn't see anything, and then they were like, okay, stop, and then like they would let me rest for a little bit, and then they would come again and like, okay, push, and like all of that. And that was happening from like 5:45ish to 8:22, which was when I actually gave birth to my son. So I was pushing and pushing and pushing, and I was already so exhausted. I was sweating like I have never sweat before. I was so tired. I was hungry. I did not want to be there anymore. I just wanted to get my baby out and to go to sleep. To be honest, like I said, I was so tired from pushing. I was tired from being there, and the pain, like, it's just added on. When I was about almost 10 centimeters dilated, they told me that my doctor was on her way, and I was like, okay, like perfect, like she's gonna be here like to deliver the baby, like everything's gonna be okay. Like I was happy. Let me tell you, like when she got there, it was like, it was crazy. It was crazy because I was pushing for so long. Like they would tell me, oh my god, like the baby's head is right there, like the baby's head is right there. They would tell me how to push, because that's one of the things that I was scared. I was like, oh my god, like what if when I'm there actually like giving birth, like if I don't know how to push, like I'm gonna be scared. Like what if the baby can't come out? So that was one of my fears, not being able to push, and that was actually what happened, because I was mostly screaming. I was screaming more than I was pushing, and it was more because I was just so scared. And I don't know, I can't even explain, because in the moment, like you don't plan it, you know, like you're not gonna be like, okay, this is how I'm gonna push, like this is what's gonna go down. Like no, you don't plan it. Like no, you can't. So like I said, I was pushing like around 5:45. I started pushing at around 5:45 a.m. and I was so mad at everybody that was in the room with me, because they kept telling me, oh my god, the baby's head's right there, when I would push. And then it's because the thing is, I would push the first 2 seconds that they tell you, and then by the third second I was already so exhausted, I would like stop pushing, and then the baby would go back in. And that was what was happening from 5:45 to when I gave birth. Literally, like I would push and push for the first 2 seconds, and the third second I was so tired, I like could not push anymore, and the baby would go back in. So imagine like the baby coming, like the baby head coming out and then like going back in. Like that was happening for like almost 3 hours. Let me tell you, his head came out like a football. So because of that, I was like so scared, and I was so mad at everybody because I thought they were lying to me, that they were telling me, oh my god, like the baby's head's right there. And I was like so mad at everybody telling me that because I didn't believe them. I thought they were lying to me. I just wanted to get the baby out, and I even told my mom, I was like, Mom, just tell him to come to a C-section on me, like just get this baby out, because I was so tired. But then my lovely doctor came in and she told me, well, she has a lot of like pee accumulated in her, like her bladder's like right there, that's why the baby can't come out, like it's blocking it. I don't even want to like get that picture in my head right now because I just don't. But she literally got this like a straw, kind of like a thin straw type of thing. I don't know what it's called, so if you guys know, comment down below. But it's like this straw, like long thing that she inserted and got my pee out. So after she did take out my pee, I remember that she told me that I was gonna have to push more for the baby, like that I was gonna have to keep pushing so that I could actually give birth. So then I was pushing and pushing, and like she had, like my mom was holding one leg, my husband was holding another leg, and I was like pushing like the life out of me. Like literally I was pushing so freaking hard. And I was screaming a lot as well, so I'm pretty sure that everybody on that floor heard me because I was screaming really loud. That's something I did not want to do, but when you're there, like anything happens. I could not control my screaming. And I remember that when I was pushing and like I was already like sweating so much, there was a point when I was pushing where like I felt like I could not even do it anymore. Like I would told them like, let my legs go, like I can't do this, like just do a C-section on me, like please just get the baby out, like please. I was so tired of pushing already. I was exhausted, I was tired, I was hungry, I was mad at everybody for like me thinking that they were lying to me. So then the doctor told me, you know what, like you can do this. Like she actually motivated me so much. Like she told me, you can do this, and you're gonna push the baby out by yourself. Like she told my mom and my husband, let go of her legs, like she's gonna do it. So she literally like had me hold my legs open, like both my legs. Like she told me, put your arms on your legs and open your legs as hard as you can, and put your neck on your chest and push and push and push. So then that's what I did. And when I was doing that, since I was already so sweaty, like, my hands would slide out of my legs, so then I would stop pushing because of that. And she kept telling me like, keep pushing, like hold your legs, like open your legs, like push and push. And I was like, I remember that at one point I let go of my legs and I just laid back, and I was like, oh my god, like please help me, like give me strength, like please, like help me. And she told me, I don't like to remember this, but I remember that she mentioned to me that my baby's heartbeat was dropping. And the moment that she told me that, like, I don't know how I got strength to like push, and like in that last push is when my baby finally came out. And it was like the most beautiful thing, like hearing him cry. Like he cried like as soon as they put him on my chest. And I was just so relieved, like that I finally had my baby and that I finally stopped pushing, because it was really hard for me and I was in so much pain. Yeah, it was just like a beautiful moment when they put him in my arms, when they put him on my chest, and I was able to hold him and I was able to see him, and it was beautiful. I just wish I could relive that moment again. So after my baby was finally out and I had him in my arms, and like, you know, they did all the stuff they had to do, and then they did take us back to our room. Like later on that day was like one of the worst experiences ever, and I don't even want to like remember it because how I felt was like the worst. Like I don't wish anybody to feel this way. Like I wish nobody would ever feel what I felt. But the thing is, since I was pushing for almost 3 hours, I was in so much pain. So since I was pushing for almost 3 hours, like my tailbone, I believe it's called, like I felt like it was broken, because it probably was. I feel like it was broken. Like that was the thing that was bothering me the most. Like it was like the worst pain ever. Like I wanted to sleep, I wanted to take a nap, but I couldn't because my back was hurting me so much, especially like at the end of my spine, like the tailbone. So when one of the nurses actually came to check up on me and stuff, she told me how I was feeling. Like she told me on a scale of 1 to 10, like how much pain do you feel? And I told her like 2 or 3, I don't really remember, but it was like the worst pain. And she was like, okay, do you want to take a pill for the pain? And I was like, yeah. And in my head I'm thinking it's gonna be like a Tylenol or like an ibuprofen or something like that, right? But no, this nurse gave me a pill called Percocet, which is like a very strong pill, like where like morphine is at, like related to morphine, something like that. But it's like a really strong drug. The moment that she gave me this pill, I remember that I was eating. All of a sudden, like I felt like, I don't know, I felt like super dizzy. I felt super lightheaded. I could not even finish my food. And let me tell you, I was really hungry because it was the day that I gave birth, and all I had after that was like a burrito and like a banana, I believe. And I was so really hungry, so I could not even finish my food. I remember that at that time my sister and my cousin were in the hospital with me, and I told them, hey, like the baby's asleep, like I'm gonna take a nap, can you guys just like watch him, like make sure like he doesn't wake up? If he does, like let me know. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So then I did take a nap, and all of a sudden, like I don't even know how to explain this because I don't even know how I was feeling at the time. I just started hearing, like I knew like my body was asleep, but like my mind was like hearing things, like hearing the people in the room. By that time my mom and like my aunts and cousins and uncles, and they were in the room with me. But like I said, I was still asleep, but my mind, like I was listening to everybody. Like I could hear the conversations, like everybody was talking and being loud. I remember that all of a sudden I woke up, and like I sat up, and I was like I felt like the whole room was spinning. It was the worst feeling ever. I told my mom, like she saw me, and like she was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, like I feel really dizzy. I feel like I'm about to faint. And then she was like, why? Like did you take a pill? Like did they give you something? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, what's it called? And like I told her the name. And then she was like, okay, like I'm gonna go call a nurse. And then she went to call like a nurse, and by that time like they had already switched turns, so like I had another nurse there. And she came, and then she was like, what's wrong? And then I told her what I was feeling, and I told her the pill that the other nurse had gave me. And she was like, have you taken drugs before? And I was like, no. And she was like, that's why you're feeling like that, because Percocet is a really strong drug, and it obviously made you feel like this because you've never been on drugs before. And like when they told me that, I was like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen to me? Like I was like panicking. I did not know what was gonna happen to me. All I knew was that I was feeling like shit. I was feeling like shit, and like my baby was right next to me, like he needed me. And I didn't even know like how I got through that part of the night, because it was like the worst feeling honestly ever. After that, the nurse left, and I remember that I got up and I was like, mom, like help me wash my face, like maybe I just need like cold water on my face. I had like my aunt and my mom like blowing air to me, like they were like, they had like papers and they were like blowing air. And I told her like bring me a wet cloth, like I need to put something cold on my face, because I felt like I just needed like something cold, like I needed air. And at that moment, like I went crazy, like I exploded, and I was like everybody get out of the room, like I don't want nobody in the room, like please get out, like leave me alone, like I don't want nobody in the room. Mind you, there was about like 8 or 9 people in the room, I believe, besides me and my baby. I felt like the room was hot. I felt like it was like getting smaller and smaller, just because I was feeling like that. And I remember that I told everybody to get out. I even told my mom. I remember that I even told my mom to shut up. I told her, mom, like stop talking, like please get out, like leave me alone. And then the nurse came in, and like she brought me like a little ice cream, or like a sherbet or something like that, I don't know what it's called. She gave me like this little ice cream, and like I started like eating the ice cream. It actually did help me out a little bit. So then I did take a nap after that, and then yeah, it was all good. Now coming home was probably one of like the hardest things. I felt lost. I felt like I didn't belong in my own house. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Now that I think about it, I don't know if it was if I was still on the effect of the pill, that like the drug that they gave me at the hospital, or if I was like getting like depressed, like postpartum depression. I don't know, I really don't know what it was. At the time, I remember that they gave you like a lot of articles from the hospital, and I was reading like what postpartum depression could be, and like everything that I was feeling was on the paper. So I was like, oh my god, like I'm depressed, like this and this and whatever. But the thing is, like, I didn't think about like harming myself. I didn't think about like harming my baby. Like, I actually, like, I did take care of my baby. Like, I was feeding him, changing him, like, you know, all these things. But it was just me. Like, I felt like alone. Like, I felt alone even though I wasn't alone. Like, there was people in the house with me, but it was so bad to the point where like my mom and my husband obviously have to go to work, and I would literally call them like all day, like, are you almost home? Like, when are you gonna get out? Are you almost home? Like, when are you coming? And I probably annoyed both of them because I was calling them so much, but it was just that I felt like I needed them to be here with me. So me feeling how I was feeling, like whether it was the effect on the pill or if I was getting depressed, that lasted only about like 2 or 3 weeks, I believe. What actually helped me get through that was my mom. She was helping me a lot, like mentally, like telling me like, you need to like get these thoughts out of your head, like you're not alone, like we're here at the house, like you have support. Like she told me, like, compare yourself to other people, like they give birth and like maybe they don't go to a family, they don't go home to a family, maybe they don't have the help you have, so you need to be thankful for that. Like, you need to get that through your head and you need to get over this. And that very same day, which was when like I actually like realized that she was right and that I did have like an amazing like support system, and I was not alone, and I had my newborn healthy baby boy with me, and that's all like I could ask for. So after that day, I was like completely fine. So now my baby boy is 1 and he's still very healthy and very, very active, and I'm just thanking God for that every day. And I'm just so thankful for having a healthy baby and having the family that I have and the support that I have. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this story time. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's a long video, but it's just, you know, my journey, what I went through, and I hope you guys enjoy and you guys got to know a little bit more about me. Please don't forget to subscribe down below and also hit the little bell icon so you guys are notified every single time I post a new video. Make sure to like and comment any video ideas for the future. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.